Good morning, class. Now, today we will start the law of variable proportion. Yesterday we have already discussed the relationship between TP and MP, MP and AP. Both the relationships we have done. Now, after that, let's start with the law of variable proportion or returns to a factor. First of all, understand the meaning of the law of variable proportion or the factors of returns to a factor. That means when only one factor is increased, one factor which increased, variable factor is increased, keeping other factors constant. Now, which factor is constant? Fixed factor is constant. The resultant change in the output is called returns to a factor or the law of variable proportion. That means if we will keep the one factor constant and if the other factors are changeable, that means the labor, then it results in the change in the output, which is called as a returns to a factor. Now, what are the assumptions of this law of variable proportion? First of all, the state of technology is given and it remain constant. Second, one factor is constant and the other factor is variable. Third assumption, all the units of the variable factors are identical, or that means equally efficient. That means if you are hiring one more labor, then next labor, all should be equally efficient. And another thing, there is a short period of the operation. Now, the last one, factors of the productions are not perfect substitutes. That means variable factor and fixed factors both are not perfectly substitute to each other. Now, let's see or let's discuss this table. Here, fixed factors are taken, that means the land. Second one is a variable factor, that means the units of the labor. Now, TP. TP increases when we hired the one unit of the variable factor on the fixed factor. On that time, TP was 5 units. After that, when the second unit of the labor is hired, third unit of the labor is hired, TP increases 5 to 15, 15 to 30. But we can say that TP increases with the increasing rate because MP also increases. So, in the first stage, TP increases with the increasing rate. Now, after that, when the fourth unit of the labor is hired, fifth unit of the labor is hired and the sixth unit of the labor is hired, TP also increases from 30 to 40, 40 to 45, but TP increases with the decreasing rate. Why? Because MP starts decreasing and it reaches to the 0, and at that time the TP is at the maximum. After that, MP become negative, so then TP also starts declining. So, according to this table, we can divide into 3 stages: increasing returns, decreasing returns, or third one is the negative returns. Increasing returns stage is that stage in which TP increases with the increasing rate. That means when TP increases and MP also increases, it is shown over here. This one is your first stage till the point of inflection. You can see that TP is increasing till point A and MP is also increasing till point C. After that, in the second stage, you can see TP is increasing but at the decreasing rate. Here you can see that TP is increasing from point A to B, but MP is decreasing from C to L1. That means MP is declining but TP increases with the decreasing rate after the point of inflection. Now, what is point of inflection? Point of inflection is that point. That means after this, the TP starts increasing with the decreasing rate. TP increases but at the decreasing rate. So, this is the point where the TP stops increasing at the increasing rate. It starts increasing with the decreasing rate because MP starts declining. After that, the third stage, the negative returns. Negative returns, when MP becomes negative, TP also starts declining. Now, let's start discussing about the stages one by one. Now, first of all, the first stage, this first one we are going to discuss over here, and this is your first stage in TP till the A point, and in the MP curve you have to see till C point. Okay, so now in the first stage, in this stage, as the input of the variable factor, that means the labor increases, MP tends to increase. ये हो रहा है आपका MP increase, and here also you can see MP increases. MP tends to increase and TP increases at the increasing rate. Here TP increases at the increasing rate. So in the diagram, MP tends to rise till OL units of labor corresponding to increasing MP, and TP tends to rise at the increasing rate from point O to A in the part A of the diagram. Now, what is the reason behind this about for this increasing returns stage? Reason is initially variable factors for second, third unit. Variable factor is too small as compared to the fixed factor. So in other words, there is an underutilization of the fixed factor. That means the land is not properly utilized. So in the beginning, as the quantity of the variable factor labor is increased, the efficient utilization of the fixed input takes place due to specialization of the variable inputs. So this raises the efficiency of the variable input. Now, in the first stage, there is a scope for more efficient utilization of the fixed factor by employing more units of the variable factor. That's why the producer continues the production. Now, let's come to the second stage of the diminishing returns or the decreasing returns. Now, it is the point where the slope of TP changes. That means after point A, you can see the slope of the TP changes. Little bit band is there. That means after the point of inflection, the TP slope is changing. That means up to this point, TP has been increasing at the increasing rate. But from this point onwards, TP increases with decreasing rate. And in the diagram, point A is the point of inflection. So in this stage, increase in the input of the variable factor, that means labor, is followed by a decrease in MP, but it remains positive. You can see till the L1 point, the second stage continues from A to B and from C to L1. This is your second stage, this portion. Okay, but MP declines, but it remains positive over here. So in the diagram, between LL1 units of labor, MP tends to fall but remains positive from point C to L1. Now reason. What is the reason for this state? That means after a level of output, there is a pressure on the fixed, because this is a fixed factor. Now we are hiring the more variable factor. So some pressure is there on the fixed input, which leads to a fall in the productivity of the variable input. So as a result, the efficiency of the variable inputs declines. But technically, producers will find his equilibrium only in this second stage of the production, when MP is decreasing but still remains positive and TP is at the maximum. That means at point B, you can see that TP is at the maximum. So the second stage is the most relevant stage of operation for a producer. Clear? Now let's start with the third stage, negative returns. Fixed factors and variable factors, 7th unit and 8th unit is hired. TP starts declining and MP becomes negative. In the diagram also you can see MP becomes negative. TP also starts declining after the maximum point. So now in this stage, increase in the units of the variable factor renders MP negative and TP starts declining. So in the diagram, when labor is employed beyond point L1, that means after this OL1 unit, if the more units are hired, MP becomes negative beyond the point L1, and it implies a fall in the TP. It falls fall in the TP also. And what is the reason behind this stage? There is a too much of the variable input in relation to the fixed input. So the amount of the variable input becomes too large in the combination of fixed input. Okay, now this is the law of variable proportion.